This is the kind of the rebranding and rebooting of my old podcast. I did a podcast 5, 6, 7 years ago called Be in My Band, where I interviewed people who I'd played with previously and just kind of interviewed them and found out, more about them, more than I knew just from playing with them. And I'm kind of doing the same thing, but not necessarily people that have been in my band, but people that I've known who are musicians that I've known for a long time. So this would be episode number 1 of the new branded Carl Knows People podcast. My first guest is Pete Wyatt. I never really knew him well. We crossed paths when I was a teenager. I think he was probably his early 20s for the first time and kind of lost touch for a while. Interestingly enough, we were both on the west side at the time. Now we're both on the east side of the mountains, not too far away. Still haven't hooked up in person. Maybe that'll change. Anyway, this is Pete Wyatt. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Carl. How are you?
I'm good. So do you recall the first time we met?
I believe so. I was, let's see. Well, the first time I remember meeting you, I was 22. I had just been in my big car wreck, so things were kind of in my head. And you and your brother, your band was playing a party in a backyard, and Kylan took me up there to watch you guys play. And what I remember the most was you guys were playing a cover of Plush by Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
That's the first time I remember meeting you. There may have been other times, but that's the one that sticks in my head.
So the first time we met, I believe, was at Kylan's parents' house in Falls City. You may have been living there with your at the time wife. Kylan is one of my brother's best friends. All through high school, still really good friends. Pete was his brother-in-law at the time. I think it was before we were playing in bands. I was like 16, 17 maybe. And we went over to your house and you were playing AC/DC like I've never heard anybody play before. And it was like the first guy I've ever heard play guitar that actually sounds like, really close to the band that they were trying to emulate. So that really impressed me. I think we probably hung out there a few times, not too many times. Then you were in Soap Lake when we came and saw you, right? Me and Chad came over after you moved over. I don't remember you being I remember the show you're talking about. I remember the backyard. It was Chris Brester's birthday party, I believe.
Okay.
We were trying out a singer that I think that was the only show that he did. We didn't stick with him for too long. It was kind of his audition in front of people. I'm trying to think who was me and Derek. His name was Eric. No, Eric was the drummer. Chad, then I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. We just talked about him. Me and Derek just talked about him the other day. Anyway, yeah, I don't remember you being at that show, but I remember it being pretty fun. We did a couple of covers. We did Plush. We did For Whom the Bell Tolls. Then we threw in a couple of our originals that we felt comfortable with. That was probably the only time you saw us ever play, I would imagine.
I think so, yeah.
I remember when we were over at Kylan's parents' house, you showed us, you were in about Vicious Circle, is that the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, you showed us a videotape of that. You had some pyrotechnics, you had the little flash bombs going off. I believe it was an outdoor stage, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the first time that we met. So the kind of the format that I do here is we get that out of the way when we met for the first time. Then I ask you about your life growing up, what got you interested in music, the bands you've been in, your family life, and stuff like that. So I think we'll start there. Okay. So where did you grow up?
I grew up, I lived in Kirkland, Washington from the time I was born up until about third grade. And then my parents bought the house out in Carnation, and that's where I lived from third grade until I moved out of the house.
Okay. And so you went to Tolt?
Yes. Yeah.
Tolt High School. Okay. What was it like in your household? Was it musical? Did your parents listen to music?
My dad, I'm sorry.
Did your parents listen to music, play music? What was that like?
Yeah, probably more so when I was younger. I don't remember a whole lot of music when I was like a teenager, but then again, to be fair, I spent a lot of time in my room listening to what I wanted to. But yeah, when I was growing up, Mom listened to, she was kind of on the softer side of things. She liked, Andy Williams, Barry Manilow, Perry Como, the crooners, the singers,
Right.
stuff like that. So, one of my first memories is laying on the bed with my mom in my sister's room when my sister, well, it was my bed, but my sister and I shared a room before
Yeah.
we got a little bit bigger house in Rose Hill. And we moved out of that house in 1974, I believe, not long after my sister was born. So this had to have been around late 73, early 74 that I
Okay.
remember this from. But we were laying on my bed listening to Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water,
Right.
on one of those little single speaker cassette players. So that's one of my first memories with my mom. My dad listened to like big band type music, swing almost kind of
My
like
my
Glenn
dad
Miller
too.
was a big one for him.
My dad, that was his band, was Glenn Miller.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
old's your dad? Or how old would he have been?
He's still alive. In 13 days, he'll be 80.
Okay. My dad just turned 84 in March.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he
Wow.
started a little later in life than your dad apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two sisters.
And you're the oldest, middle, youngest?
I'm oldest.
You're the oldest. Okay. So when did you find yourself kind of branching off, wanting to listen to your own type of music, discovering the type of music that you liked? Was it influences from other kids at school? How did you come up? Because most people, like if you're the younger brother, like me, you get your influences from your older brothers,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I did. So it's kind of curious. I'm kind of curious, as you're the older brother, you're obviously not going to listen to the stuff your parents listen to. What turned you on to the type of music that you first got into?
I'd have to say my cousin.
Okay.
He was, let's see, I was probably about 12 years old, and he was 16, I think, 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And the first song that he played for me that just grabbed me by the shoulders and kind of shook me awake was Van Halen,
Mm-hmm.
Cradle Will Rock.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that just blew me away. That was the
Yeah.
first one. And it's kind of funny, and I know this is probably going to offend you and your brother, but one of my other cousins, he was into Kiss, and for some reason, it just didn't strike a chord with me, and I don't know why. I don't. Probably because he was listening to, oh, what's the one with "I was made for loving
Oh yeah.
you, baby."
That's the title
Yeah,
right there. I was made for
yeah.
living.
I was like, no.
To be honest, I don't know if it was probably the imagery of Kiss that first got us, but when we were really into them, when as we were teenagers, they were without makeup. So something about the music grabbed us then. But even when we were young, I remember my mom telling us that we gravitated towards, I think, the Peter Criss solo album. I was in a store
Okay.
and I wanted her to get it to me. So I think it was more of an image thing, which I think is probably the majority of what turns people on to Kiss at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I always thought of you as the AC/DC guy. When did
Shortly after the Van Halen episode, same cousin,
uh-huh.
he had Back in Black. It had just come out very soon after it had come out. Yeah, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. First song I ever heard was "You Shook Me All Night Long." Now I don't
Mm-hmm.
really care for that song because it's so overplayed.
Yeah. What's your favorite AC/DC song? Do you have one?
Oh, boy.
Is that like asking who your favorite child is?
Yeah, right. Well, I have some that stand out in my mind. I mean, of course, I like them all, but most
Mm-hmm.
of them. There's some that I'm like, yeah, fast forward or
Yeah.
skip or whatever. But
Yeah.
I like some of the older stuff, Bon Scott. I think the Brian Johnson era is kind of more nostalgia than anything else because that was
Yeah.
my period of growing up right there. But, Brian Johnson did his fair share of good songs too. But I really like some of the older, bluesier, the heavier stuff that they did with Bon Scott, like "Beating Around the Bush" is a good tune. That's a wicked riff. The solos in "Down Payment Blues," "Squealer" is a good one off of "Dirty Deeds."
Of course, I knew who AC/DC was. I was impressed that you can play them. I wasn't a fan of them back then. I'm beginning to appreciate them more now for what they are. I'm more of a Brian Johnson era guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who Made Who is my favorite song. I haven't really did any deep diving into their stuff, to be honest, but I appreciate them more now than I did when I was You know, I was total kind of anti-AC/DC, anti-Rush. I'm still kind of anti-Rush. I don't like Rush. I don't know if it's an age thing. A little bit younger than you are. Do you like Rush?
I do.
It may be an age thing. Actually, the first time I ever heard of Rush was the first concert I went to, the Monsters of Rock, and I just saw their shirts. I never even heard of the band before, and then I saw their shirts all over everybody's back. That and Pink Floyd. I didn't know who Pink Floyd was. That's how kind of sheltered I was musically, even when I went to my first concert. Do you remember the first album that you bought with your own, or the first? Let's go first that you bought, or that was bought for you, if that was a thing, and the first one that you actually bought with your own money, if they are different. Back when you actually had to buy the album and not just get stream your favorite song.
Yeah, that's a tough one too. I did a lot of my record shopping at Golden Oldies in either Bell Square or Crossroads Mall. So I bought a lot.
Was that around for a long time? Because I don't remember that.
Golden Oldies?
Yeah. I remember Tower, and I remember there was Cellophane Square in Bellevue.
Cellophane Square, that was me. It was a used record store. I don't know if they're even around anymore. I only shopped there for a couple of years. The first albums that I really remember buying that were like contemporary, that were newer or new, they had just come out. At least one of them had, because I bought them at the same time. When I was getting ready to graduate from high school, I splurged and bought myself a CD player.
Oh yeah.
This was 1989.
Okay.
Just a little.
You graduated 89?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're not that much older.
No. Okay. Well, I was the old kid in my class, so I should have been class of 88, but
okay.
Because of when my birthday is, I couldn't start kindergarten in 1975. I had to start in 76.
Yeah.
So anyways, I bought myself a CD player. It cost me $125 at Sears in Overlake, which was a good chunk of change back in the day.
Now, you talking like a boombox, like a portable CD player, or for your car?
No, it was for my huge stereo
system. Your stereo system. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so console, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, and then the CDs that I bought to go with that was Led Zeppelin 2, which of course at the time was not a new album.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one that I bought was Bon Jovi's New Jersey.
Okay.
Because I thought the Lay Your Hands on Me was such a cool song.
Yeah. One of my first albums was, I thought I was getting that one, but I was actually getting 9800 Degrees, I think. It was the one before that. I saw Bon Jovi and
Slippery When Wet.
Slippery When Wet was preceding that one. 9800 Degrees was before Slippery When Wet. So I thought I was getting the newest Bon Jovi album, but I got one that I started playing it, didn't know any of the songs. So that was a little disappointing.
That's such a bummer.
I know. I mean, they had some pretty good songs on that. There's some good ones. I can't really remember now, but I ended up liking it. So senior in high school, that's the first time you bought one for yourself?
Yes.
Had anybody bought you one previous?
No. If I wanted anything rock and roll, I had to get it myself.
Were your parents anti that music at all? Did they give you any pushback?
I wouldn't say they were. I mean, they didn't really care for me listening to some of it.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't stop me.
Lyrically, or
what's that?
Was it because of the lyrics, or just stuff that they were like hearing via like the news or something like that, or they just didn't like the sound of it?
Well, yeah, all three probably.
Yeah.
And this was prime satanic panic stuff. So
right. Did you play it loud, or were you?
Did I play what?
Did you play it loud in the house, or were you try to respect them?
I don't think I played it too loud.
Uh-huh. I think we played ours pretty loud. My parents are always actually pretty cool about it. I think when they were home, we kind of took it easy, but when they were gone, it was it was cranked pretty good.
For sure.
So, were you a concert goer much?
A little bit when I was younger. I haven't been to a concert now since 2019. I went and saw Journey and Def Leppard out at the Gorge.
Okay, what was your first concert?
Oh boy, first concert
you chose to go to, that you wanted to go to?
Probably AC/DC.
Oh yeah, in Seattle.
August 19th, 1986. I'll never forget. Changed my life.
Yeah, nice. Where was it, in the Kingdom, or is it Tacoma Dome? Where was it?
Tacoma Dome.
Oh, that sound is amazing there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the worst. Well,
I don't think
I don't know if that or the Kingdoms first. They're not. Neither are good. Where were your seats, or did you have seats, or were you general admission?
a general admission.
And how old were you?
Well, August '86, I was 15, almost 16.
Who did you go with?
It was me, and did you ever meet Dane? I don't know if you ever met Dane. The guy that played drums in Vicious Circle.
You know what's
Curly hair.
funny? Did he live in Fall City?
No.
Did he ever live in Fall City? Okay, that's not who I'm thinking of. No, I don't think I ever met him. I may have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I went with him and another friend of mine named Don Robinson, and I think no, Kevin Jangard I think went with us too. So there was 4 of us.
Okay, my first one was Monsters of Rock 8 in the Kingdom. Do you remember that show?
I do. I didn't go.
Did you
but
go?
I remember it.
You didn't go?
No.
It's a pretty funny story. I won't get into it too much, but that was 2 days after we moved to Snoqualmie from the east side. My parents had got us the tickets, really not knowing. My brother Glenn, he went to that show like a week earlier in Spokane. Then my brother Chad and I had the tickets for the Seattle show. I don't know what my parents were thinking. They thought it was going to be a short little show. It ended up being like 9 hours. Kingdom Come first, Metallica second, funny enough. Dokken, Scorpions, and Van Halen closed it out. I mean, talk about a first time for a lot of things. First time smelling weed. Didn't have any idea what that was. It was kind of making us sick. So me and my brother decided we needed to escape that. So for some reason, we thought going up in the actual stands would be a good idea, but it was just up there. It was floating up there more than where we were. So that wasn't a great plan. Yeah, but that was my first one. So I didn't get. It was baptism by fire there. That was eye opening. When did you get your first guitar, or what was your first instrument? Did you play like school band or anything?
No, I wanted to, but I wanted to actually play guitar in school band, but they didn't offer that. So then I thought, well, I'll play drums. And the music teacher thought that I was more suited for the trumpet for some reason.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any desire to play the trumpet. So I was like, I just won't do it then.
So were you playing guitar before you wanted to play in school band, or is that how you wanted to learn?
No, that was first. I always had always wanted to play guitar. My dad played guitar.
Okay.
So I was around that all my life.
Did he teach you anything?
Yeah, he actually taught me how to play chords. He's the one that taught me how to play.
Okay, cool.
I at least got the ball rolling.
Yeah. Acoustically?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get an electric. Let's see, I started playing guitar round about when I was 10 years old. He always told me, because I kept bugging him to teach me how to play, and he said that when my hands could reach around the neck, or when my hand could reach around the neck, he'd teach me how to play. Okay. And I think I was about 10 years old when that happened. And of course, after hearing Back in Black, I had to learn how to play to play that. And I didn't get my first electric until I think my 12th birthday. My grandma bought one off of Sears for me.
Oh, you had a Sears special too? I had a Sears special. That was my first one. White. Me and my brother both. It was my 8th grade year. Chad was sophomore when we both decided we wanted to start playing. But that's probably not too much before I met you, I would think, for the first time.
Wow.
So did your dad, was he kind of just chords, or was he pretty good? Or
Yeah, he's a good guitar player. Mostly chords. I was just watching on YouTube the other day. This guy has a video on there where he teaches you how to play rhythm and lead guitar at the same time, which is kind of what my dad did, which is really just you hit the chord and you let it ring out and then you throw a little lick in or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. That's how my dad played.
Isn't that kind of how Chet Atkins played a little bit? Did he kind of do stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, a little beyond just beginner stuff. He's pretty amazing. So when did you go out and get your own guitar, like one that you bought? And what was that?
Probably 85, I think. Maybe early 86. Had a little dirt bike motorcycle at the time that I had gotten for free from one of the guys that my dad worked with. And what's that?
I just said,
Oh, and anyways, I sold that to my cousin for $100 or whatever, and took my money and went down to Tacoma, South Tacoma. Dad took me to all the hawk shops down there by the military base, and I bought a Hondo 2 double cutaway. It was called a Hondo 2 Professional, and that thing it weighed a ton, but it played really good from what I remember.
Right.
And that was my first real guitar.
So once you caught the bug of playing guitar, were you pretty much in your room practicing every free moment you got? Is that how you did it?
That's how my mom used to punish me if I got bad grades. She'd take my guitar away. She
Oh,
was like, "You're going to sit in your room and do homework. You're not going to sit in your room and play guitar." I hated that.
was that a common thing?
I think she only did it once or twice.
Yeah. Well, that must have been what worked. What worked for you? Were you in bands during high school at
I
all?
had people that I played music with. I don't know if you'd really call it a band. It was myself, my buddy Dane, that played drums in Vicious Circle. He and I, we kind of started down on the same path at the same time. I'd known him since third grade, and then in fourth grade, when we got the opportunity to join the band, I wanted to play drums. Like I say, Mrs. Delapozo, that was her name. She wanted me to play trumpet, and she wanted Dane to play drums. Well, Dane got to play drums, which is what he wanted, and he got to stick with it. But yeah, he and I, we would get together on Saturdays. I'd have my parents drive me out there. I was probably 12 or 13 years old. Yeah. And I'd plug into his PV, and I don't even know what we played. I'm sure it sounded like a cacophony of noise.
Yeah, trumpet. I played trumpet in school band. That was my first instrument. Then my sixth grade band teacher wanted me to take up tuba because no one played tuba. So he gave me the tuba for the whole summer to practice, and I did. And I came back and said, I don't really want to play. He was so mad at me because he thought he had a tuba player for his band for the whole year, and I just wasn't interested in it. So when did you feel brave enough to actually form an actual band and start playing in front of people?
I always kind of wanted to have a band, but like I say, Dane and I, we played, and as we went through high school, we kind of got some other people gravitating towards us. But of course, everybody played guitar. So, and I mean, I already played guitar, so I was like, well, all right, you can come jam with us or whatever. But so we didn't really get a bass player until '89, I think it was. We had this guy that came out and played music with us on Saturdays. His name was Joey Sargent. And quick side note, he ended up marrying Eddie Jackson's little sister, the bass player.
Queensrÿche? Yeah.
So anyways, Joey, he put an ad in the Rocket for a bass player and a singer. And the people that responded was John Wilkins on the bass, Doug Himes for a singer. Well, he's the one that we kept.
Yeah.
We had a guy show up with the back of he had like a little Nissan pickup truck or something, and in the back was nothing but PA speakers. We were like, oh no. And this guy gets out with the long hair and the spandex, and
oh no.
And we kind of chuckled a little bit, and we were like, all right, let's try it out. So we, hit a power chord or whatever, and he does his, and we're like, okay.
that wasn't your scene, huh?
Well, thanks for driving all the way out here.
That's so uncomfortable. Band tryouts are so uncomfortable.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. And yeah, and it got better. I mean, the band name Vicious Circle was fitting for us because, like I say, the singer that answered the ad, Doug Himes, his girlfriend at the time was Kylan's sister, Carrie.
Okay.
Yeah, and after we.
Go ahead.
John wrote a bunch of songs. He had been in a band down in San Francisco, and he was probably 2 years my senior. So he was one of the older ones in the band.
And how old were you at this time? I don't know. I can't remember if you said.
I was 19.
19? Okay.
Yeah, or 18. I'm sorry, 18. And anyways, so summer '89. Anyways, John had a handful of songs, and he taught a couple of them to us. She Burns, Horsepower, and Joey Sargent, the guy that had put the ad in the Rocket that with the other guitar player, he wasn't really that interested in doing original songs. He wanted to do covers. Like he'd come into practice or whatever, and we'd be like, John would be like, hey, did you figure out the riff for that song I showed you? And he's like, well, I kind of got it. He goes, but check this out. And he'd whip out Sweet Child of Mine, do 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 do, and we're like, right. Yeah, come on. Yeah, and you think tryouts are uncomfortable? I don't like kicking people out of the band.
Oh no, I've had a few of those occasions.
Yeah.
Did you find it so that bass player that came and tried out, was he an actual bass player or was he a converted like guitar player? I always found every bass player I ever had was, except this last band I was in, it seemed like every bass player that I played with was, well, everybody plays guitar. We need someone to play bass. Someone volunteered to go play bass. Was he an actual bass player where he knew how to actually play bass the correct way?
Yeah, John was a bass player.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to think of all of his, because I knew who some of his influences were, like Jaco Pastorius was a big one for him.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
You don't?
Maybe if I know the band. I don't know by name.
Not Linda Ronstadt.
Okay, no, I don't know.
He was just really an eclectic player. Google him one of these days when you're bored. Jaco Pastorius. Anyway, that was one of his big influences. He used to make fun of Steve Harris, but I think he actually liked him, the bass player from Iron Maiden.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, who was actually a big influence on me as far as playing bass. I am also a converted, well, not really converted. If nobody else wants to take the spot, I'll do it. I'll play the bass. And yeah.
Side note, Linda Ronstadt, she played, wasn't her first album, her first touring band, the Eagles? Wasn't that her backup?
Yes.
Her backup band? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but you playing bass, go ahead.
Jaco wasn't in Linda Ronstadt's band. That's just the first name that popped in my head. I can't remember the lady's name. Anyway.
When I reconnected with you, was it Facebook?
Probably.
It was probably Facebook. I was thinking MySpace, but I think that was too early. I noticed, I think you were playing bass in something. I sent you that message. I didn't really recognize you. I was like, is this Pete that played the AC/DC Kylan? And yeah, that's me. So yep. I knew I had the right guy. So how long did Vicious Circle last? It's funny when time back then seems like it was so long, but actually when you think about it, it was so short. Like all my bands that I thought were lasting forever were basically from 92 to like 95, but it seemed like it was years and years and years, but it actually wasn't. How long did Vicious Circle go on?
Not very long. Probably a year.
Was that, did you go on to other bands after that?
I did not, no. No, it was difficult for me because I was dumb and got married young.
Yeah.
And
to Kylan's sister?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was 19 when I first got married, and I was trying to do the full-time job so that we could move out of Carrie's dad's house there in Fall City and get our own place, and going to work from 5 o'clock in the morning until 5 at night or whatever, and then having to drive down to Tacoma and play music. It wasn't working out. So
what were you doing for work at the time?
I worked for the city of Redmond. In the street department.
Pretty good job for that young.
Well, it was a seasonal thing.
Okay.
But
yeah. Summer?
I mean, I paid some bills. Well, it was a seasonal thing that lasted almost 3 years.
So 4 or 12 seasons, actually?
Yeah.
What kind of work? Like maintenance?
Mostly like in the street department. My last gig with them was I worked in signs and signals.
Okay. So, not to get too much into your personal life, I guess, when did you and Carrie end things?
98.
So how long were you married?
Well, let's see. So she left in 98. That's when that ended, was December of 98.
Where were you at the time?
I was in Wenatchee.
Oh, okay. You had already moved over this side. When did you move east?
Which time?
So after I met you at Kylan's parents' house, like obviously lost touch. We didn't have internet or anything. When did you move to it? Was Wenatchee your first move then after that point?
No. The first move, the first time I moved over to the east side of the mountains was right after my car wreck, and I couldn't work.
Yeah.
And I was getting $335 a month from the state to live on, and my rent in Carnation was $475, I think. So, yeah, it wasn't working out. I happened to see my grandpa, who lived in Soap Lake, at a family reunion in August, I guess, of 93. And he had two houses at the time, one in Lakeview and one in Soap Lake that he lived in downtown. And he told me that if I moved over here and took care of the yard and the house and stuff, that I could live there. And Carrie and I moved over in October of 93 to Soap Lake.
So that's when we came and saw you.
Probably.
Was it Lakeview? Is that the house you were at?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's when Chad and I came over. We were coming over for a family Christmas or something. So we stopped off and saw you, and I think showed you a demo tape that we had just done. It's cloudy. It was a while ago, but I do remember stopping and seeing you. Somehow Kylan must have known you were over there. Obviously, you're still with
Yeah.
Carrie, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kylan must have said, here's his address and phone number. I'm sure that's how it happened. Gave it to Chad, and we connected and stopped over for a little bit. So that was after your wreck. When was your wreck?
May of '93.
Okay. So that was pretty serious. There was a lot of brain trauma on that one and everything.
Yeah.
And so did you have to relearn a lot of stuff?
I did.
Okay. So you had to relearn how to play guitar. Was it like, did you have to relearn how to walk and all that kind of stuff too? It was that serious. Okay. Wow. How long did it take you to pick the guitar back up again after the wreck? Like after you healed up and you felt good enough to do it? Was that pretty immediate?
That was one of the first things that I was determined to do was keep playing guitar. Carrie actually brought my SG to my hospital room, and I had it in there with me. I don't remember if I did anything with it at that point. Maybe tried to finger some stuff, but yeah.
Where was that wreck at?
In Duval on Fay Road.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What were you driving?
We were in a 1973 Pontiac Catalina.
Was she with you? Okay. A couple of friends, or what was the situation?
Yeah, we had gone out bar hopping.
Okay. So did you once you moved over to Soap Lake at that point, did you stay on the east side? No. Did you and Carrie have kids or no?
We had one, yeah.
You had one?
One boy.
Okay. Did you always keep in contact with Kylan?
Not until Facebook,
Kind of like everybody else.
I had assumed that the divorce kind of
divorced you from everybody?
All those people out of my life, which, I mean, was sad for me because, I liked, everybody. And I don't know. It's divorce is a weird thing.
Yeah, that's how it was with mine. I got my divorce. Actually, I don't remember my divorce was final. We were split for like almost 10 years, I think, before it was actually finalized.
Wow.
But I'm still in contact with everybody. Her brother is going to be on one of these episodes. And yeah, I talked to her mom probably a couple times a week still. We never really lost contact. Of course, we had two kids, and we always had to keep things cordial purposely. Is she still alive? I don't know. Is Carrie still alive?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't heard anything from Kylan's siblings or any of his family. Just he came up last year to visit. He came up and visited Chad. He lived down in Arizona. My daughter was down in Arizona. He was in, I think, the Phoenix area, and she lived in Tucson trying to just be independent, and that didn't work out very well, but she had an issue with her car. Someone dropped a boulder from an overpass onto her sunroof on her car.
Oh, geez.
And so I had purchased one, and he went into it. He can tell you the story better, but he went into a not so savory part of Phoenix, and he's a cop, and so I guess him and his partner walked in, and a lot of people just scattered because they didn't know what he was there for, but he was just there for to pick up a part. And he installed it for her. So, I mean, we keep in contact. We have each other's cell number. And like I said, he came up and visited last summer, I think. I think it was last summer. But yeah, divorce is tricky sometimes. Yeah. So I saw you were playing bass. It was a guy out of Moses Lake. I just hear like rumors about the guy. Like he always has this one band and he'll end it, then he'll get new members and he'll start it back up again. And you were part of that for a little bit. I can't remember the name of that band.
Thief of Hearts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. You were playing bass for him, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that the first time that you tried to play out in a band since then, or had you tried previous after Vicious Circle and between then?
After Vicious Circle, I was in another band with. Did you know Tim, Kylan's kind of half brother?
I met him.
He drove the red Ford truck.
Yeah, I think you guys had the hot tub there, right? At that place. Yeah, I think there was a drunken encounter with him at one point. Him and my brother didn't get along very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't. Chad. Well, I don't know if Tim saw it the same way, but Chad didn't like him But I don't know exactly why. He was just cocky, I think.
Yeah, he's very cocky.
But I do remember him. There's another guy. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Tim, but it was another one of Kylan's relatives. He did type like electronic music. And him and Chad and Kylan went over and made this dumb recording, but it sounded so good because everything was like digital and electronic, no like actual instruments.
Was it
And they
Gilbert?
just, that sounds familiar. I'd have to ask Chad. He would know. He might know. How is he related?
Gilbert is Kylan's full brother.
That's another thing I don't have. Gilbert. No, it wasn't Gilbert. I was next door neighbors with Gilbert for a while in Issaquah. He worked with my wife at the Salish, and so early on in my marriage in Issaquah, he was in an apartment building just across from our little duplex that we lived in.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Gilbert.
Huh.
Yeah, that dynamic, I never understood who exactly was Kylan's full or half brothers or adopted. It was confusing to me. I never really asked.
Yeah.
Who was who. I think Gilbert was his full brother, right?
Yes.
Which is funny because he doesn't look Hispanic. He doesn't look Hispanic at all. Kylan does.
Gilbert?
Yeah, to me, he doesn't.
No. He's a white Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kylan, I remember seeing him for the first time, wondering why this 16, 17-year-old had a full mustache and was 7 feet tall. And like, he worked with Chad at McDonald's. Which is funny. That friend group is still friends. Everybody that worked at McDonald's together, they're still. They took a trip to Vegas like a couple years ago. Like all of them that worked together. It's pretty funny.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool to have a core group of friends. Chris, the guy that we played his party, he lives in Wenatchee now. He's a lawyer in Wenatchee.
Oh wow.
So him and Chad, hang out every once in a while. So what was he didn't play? No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't play anything. He goes and sees Chad's band play, but he doesn't. I haven't even met anybody in Chad's band. I haven't been able to see him play yet. So hopefully that'll change pretty soon. What was the name of that second band you were talking about? Yeah, if you wanted, yeah.
We should go next time they play. Oh, what the heck is the name of that place?
Wally's.
Wally's, yes.
Yeah. Have you been in there? Have you ever been in there?
I kind of stumbled into the door one time before it was Wally's.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have not been there, no.
Yeah, I've never been there. They're playing a show in Spokane, too. I think in August, I think. But they're trying to branch out. It's kind of cool. It's kind of neat that he's finding a band that's actually doing something in his, early 50s instead of late teens or early 20s like we wanted to happen. What was the name of that second band you were talking about?
I think we were kind of up in the air with names, but I think what we settled on was Nine Windows. So that was kind of the hippie, trippy phase of my late 20s. Rumor has it, and this was a guy that I played with so Tim was playing the drums, and he was a guy that worked with Tim at Ballard Glass, I think it was.
Huh?
But his name's Sean Riley, and according to him, there's this park up in Seattle that we used to like to go to and hang out called Cary Park up on top of Queen Anne Hill.
Mm-hmm.
The one where all the pictures of downtown Seattle are taken from. Anyways, if you're at that park and you turn around and look behind you, there's apartment buildings back there, and there's one apartment building that has 9 windows in it.
Oh.
And so that's where that name came from. And at the time, we were practicing at I think it was called the Jam Box up on Lower Queen Anne.
Oh, yeah. I think my friend Derek, who we were in one band, two bands together. That was one of the uncomfortable kicking somebody out stories that is still kind of a sour subject. Still kind of a sour subject. He once he moved out of the valley, he practiced at the Jam Box, and we went there and watched him practice a few times. Yeah, it's funny. My brother, do you remember Rob Mercer? He was one of Kylan's friends, I think from church.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
Anyway, Chad moved in with Rob, I think around 92, 93. They moved to Spokane, and Chad, every time he'd go to work, he'd see this old man just sitting in a window, staring out like he was in a second-story window. Like every day, he'd sit in the same spot, just like staring outside the window. So I wrote a song called "Man in the Window." I knew nothing about the guy, just the stories that Chad. That's all I knew, that he just stayed and stared out the window. So I wrote a song. It's funny how you can come up with obscure like names of bands or titles of songs just from stuff you see around you. So Tim, you mean that Kylan's brother? That's who he played drums? Okay, I didn't know. Yes. I didn't know he played drums. And that was still on the west side, right?
Yes.
Okay. So after you moved, anything else over on that side musically?
No, that was it.
Did that band play out? Did you play shows?
We played at, it wasn't called the China Club, but yeah, we played a show up in, I guess it was like just north of Ballard on 15th and 85th up there. Used to
I
be,
think we played the same. I think we played the same club. We talked
yeah.
about it. What was the name of it? It was a Chinese restaurant. It was a
Hmm.
Sunday night at like 10 when they let us play, and it was the band and a drunk couple in the crowd and the the,
That's
the
pretty much who we
employees,
played to. Yeah.
and they were heckling us. New World. That's
New
what it was
World,
called.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. We played there and had the same crowd.
probably the same two people.
But we were there on a Wednesday night.
I don't know if that's
Yes.
better or worse.
I think it's worse. So yeah, we
I guess
played
Sunday's
there
still
and
considered a weekend.
yeah, right. And we played at Uncle Rocky's on Lower Capitol Hill. They think those are really the only two real shows that we played. And we were together longer than Vicious Circle was. Vicious Circle was doing a show probably every other week. It
Oh,
seemed like. I mean,
yeah.
Vicious Circle, we played the Ballard Firehouse. We used to play Al Anon meetings down in downtown Seattle. We played Leslie's in Tacoma. We played all kinds of places. I said Ballard Firehouse. Yeah, we played at a
Yeah.
place called, The Far Side in Northgate, which then turned into, what was it? It turned into something else, but now it's a Walgreens where it used to be. It's on the corner
Oh,
of 85th and North Gateway.
okay. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, yeah, so
What brought Vicious Circle to an end?
I quit the band. I mean, that didn't really bring it to an end. They got another guitar player, but they didn't like the way that he played. And then Dane and John, the drummer and bass player, went on to another band called Demons Gone, and then they changed their name to Villain. I don't
Okay.
know if you ever heard of Villain.
Villain sounds familiar.
Yeah, anyways.
Why did you quit? Was that because it was hard doing the job thing and all that? Yeah. I remember Vicious Circle being pretty good for what they were. That was more of a late '80s rock type thing, right?
Yeah.
I do remember Theatrics. I wish I had a better memory of that video that you showed me, but I was fairly impressed
I
with it.
wish we still had that video. I forgot we even taped that.
Yeah, yeah, we still have. It's funny. The first band I was in high school, Sally and Groove. Our bass player, our guitar player too. To some point, he had some old footage, but our bass player and his parents kept everything. So like he would just like slowly feed us like little nuggets every once in a while, like a practice at a garage, a garage that we used to rehearse at, and a practice from
Nice.
his garage at his parents' house, and a show, these shows that we weren't aware we had footage of. I think
Wow.
he's ran out of his stockpile, but he says he has more videotapes to go through that he's trying to turn digital. So you might come up with something else from his parents' house. That's always neat
That's
when it's like you're watching somebody else, but it's you, but
yeah.
you're an idiot. You're watching a 17-year-old idiot version of yourself, but it's fun to rediscover those things.
Yeah.
Um, so what was the band in Moses Lake again?
Thief of Hearts.
Thief of Hearts. Did you guys ever? I can't remember. I don't know if it was just a rehearsal that he posted, or maybe you had posted it. I don't know how I saw the video. I don't know if it was a rehearsal or a show. Did you actually play out?
Yeah, we played out quite a bit with them too, or I did. We played there. There was at the time a couple clubs in Moses Lake. We actually played 12 Hawks in Ephrata.
Yeah, I played there once or twice.
Yeah, and then we played a place called Checkers, I think, in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the one that you saw because I know that it got recorded and uploaded to YouTube.
Okay. Did you do Sporties at all?
Never played Sporties, huh?
Which is no longer. That was a surprise when that shut down.
Yeah, right.
We played Sporties quite a bit. My last band that I was drumming in, Sporties,
Really?
Del Red, and Soap Lake. We played Eagles and Moses Lake. We played all over. I mean, we were playing. Some summers we'd play like 3 weekends out of the month. We were really busy. It was
Wow.
fun for a while. It was fun for a while. We played a spring called Summer. Was it Summer or Spring Fest? One of the two in Wenatchee, outside the Tacoma or the T-Mobile Center.
Okay.
there, and they had an outdoor event. So we got done playing our set, and I was walking around the crowd, and I looked down and I see Duff McKagan there in the crowd, just sitting there with his family, hanging out, watching the bands and stuff. But I think he
Wow.
got there after we played, so I don't think he actually got to see me play. But I took a picture with him and stuff. That
That's
was
pretty
my
cool.
that was my brush with celebrity when I played.
Uh-huh.
So then I think was that the only band that you played bass in around here?
No, I played bass in Lunker too.
Was that a band that didn't have a singer? I saw you play.
No,
I saw you play something. It was like outside of a car dealership or something. Maybe I'm
yeah,
misunder.
no, it was that was we played the bait. It was in a bait swap meet, I think, and it was
Okay.
out here at the Two Sons Tribal Market. So the big gas station down at the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Western
Okay. The half son.
Half Sun. That's right.
Okay, yeah. My dad lives right down the street from there now.
Okay.
He calls it the Indian station.
Yeah.
He's not too PC. Is that the last thing you did playing
Yeah,
Outlaws?
we still get together.
I don't know if I actually brought it up to you guys, or if it was just in my brain. You, me, Justin, Warren. And I think that's as far as I got. I don't know if I actually brought it up to you guys. If we're trying to come up with something, I was tired of playing when I was playing in that band, Hometown Hooligans. I was tired of playing just covers, and I wasn't a drummer. Actually, I'm probably better at drums than I am at guitar, but I never considered myself a drummer. Just they heard that I drummed, and I had a drum set, but I didn't. That was my tryout live at a bar in front of people. They tried. That was my tryout here at the bar in Cooley City here.
Dang.
Actually, it was the owner of the bar. It was his band. He hired us. It was like a house band. So he actually paid us to practice. He paid us for shows.
Wow.
Then he stopped. Then he sold the bar. So that ended. The paydays ended. So we started playing out of town a lot more after that. Played at Deutsches Fest in Odessa every
Yeah.
year.
Uh-huh.
First year was the outdoor stage. That was our tryout to get to the beer garden. Then we played a few years in the beer garden. Played down at Sun Lakes Park a bunch. We played Grand Coulee Dam. We played the 4th of July Festival at Grand Coulee Dam. I think just one year when I was with him. I was with him for almost 7 years. So, but yeah, maybe I didn't even bring it up to you guys. Maybe it was just in my head that I was thinking about.
I remember you talking about us getting together, and then it just kind of faded away, and
Yeah,
nobody talked about it anymore.
because Justin's an amazing musician.
He is actually. He came out and jammed with us a few times over at George's house with Lunker,
Okay.
so I could switch back over to guitar, and so it was me and George on guitar, and Pat drumming, and Justin playing bass, and that actually only happened like 2 or 3 times, I think. And
How?
I think he figured out really quick that Pat and George aren't really on the same level that he is as far as like commitment or anything like that.
Uh,
Which, to be fair, Pat and George, they told me when I hooked up with them, because Brian Reese, the drummer from Thief of Hearts, he hooked me up with them after Thief of Hearts broke up, the era that Brian and I were in. So I hooked up with George, went over to George's house and hooked up with them. And apparently they liked what they heard. So here it is, like 5 or 6 years later, and we're still, geez, more than that, probably about 10 years. We still
are
get
you guys are
together.
playing? I didn't know you were still playing with anybody.
Yeah.
Do you just get
So
together and jam, or do you actually
yeah, we
play?
just we just get together and jam. And I think that's what Justin didn't really care for, because he actually brought in a song that he had written the week before and wanted us to kind of play with it and stuff. And George and Pat didn't really have any interest in doing that, and he never came
No.
back.
Oh, okay.
That's my
I don't know
thought.
how many. I don't know how many bands he's in now. He was in Lake City Blues. He was in that band for a long time.
Yeah,
Um,
with Lee from Thief of Hearts.
oh, okay. Then he's in another band. I couldn't stand him. The guy that wrote the material and stuff. He was my art teacher in college. Fran, I think was his name. Fran something. Anyway,
Huh.
he was in that band for a long time, but it was hard to listen. It was really hard to listen to. But
What kind of music?
I don't know. It was like almost like modern day Doors without like he could not sing he couldn't sing to save his life, but he was the singer. He just and it's
Oh,
not even like good yelling screamy stuff. It was just like loud talking. I don't know. It's hard to explain and I don't think you would like it. But I'm sure they had fun doing it. It seemed odd that Justin was in that because I knew how good of a musician he was.
yeah,
Yeah, I got him on board to do an episode. What I'm really curious about, he played a show in the early '90s. He substituted on bass for a band called Fits of Depression, and
yeah,
they opened up at the Coliseum for Nirvana one show, and so we got to experience like kind of Nirvana in there. I guess it'd be
yeah.
their heyday. Maybe as a little before they took off nationally.
Yeah, he's had a more interesting life as a musician than I have.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, at
his
least as far as like meeting other people and stuff.
yeah.
Brian Reese, the guy that I played with in Thief of Hearts, the drummer, he used to tell me stories about hanging out with Screaming Trees,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mark Lanigan and stuff. And I was like, dude, he's like,
Weren't
yeah,
they
we
out
used
of
to go.
They're out of Ellensburg, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I guess my only other kind of brush with anything, I recorded one song. I was in a band called 30s Burning. That was the last band I was in before I moved over to the east side. It was me and Chad and this guy named Chris, and he was an intern at a recording studio, Bob Lang Studios in Seattle. And I thought the studio was cool. Like it was built into the side of a mountain, basically. The walls were all rock. So, it doesn't make sense to put a studio in there, but it sounded, then I started looking at like all the gold records on the wall. Who's recorded there is like Dave Grohl recorded the whole first Foo Fighters album when he did all the instruments himself. He recorded that whole thing there.
wow,
So we got to record one song there just because Chris worked there. I think he basically worked there for free just to learn how to produce and stuff. So for his time, he got some studio time, and we got to record a song there. So that was fun. So yeah, that's kind of so the project you're in now is just get together and jam every once in a while.
yeah.
So you took a picture. I commented on a picture you had posted of that guy, and I said I thought he looked like I can't remember his name now. The guy that talked made his guitar talk all the time from the '70s.
Peter Frampton.
Peter Frampton. Didn't you have a friend? You posted a picture. He's kind of really shaved head, and he's bald or gray at the time.
I
He's
remember
bald and gray.
you saying something. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a picture of me and Joe, a friend of mine from high school.
Oh, okay. So you guys aren't interested in playing it and just anything more than just getting together and jam when you guys have time?
Yeah, not really. I mean, what we well, we play out every once in a blue moon, like maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Like this last October, we played a friend's birthday party. He had a big giant kegger out at his house, and he lives out Stratford Road, so he's got I don't know how many acres out there and a big giant shop that we set up in. And we
Oh,
played a
nice.
show there,
Yeah.
and then I think we were supposed to be opening for Ironwood. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, they're one of the metal bands in town,
I don't know
and we
any local bands except that ska sounding band. Oh man, what's the
Dime Store
name?
Profits.
Nine. Yeah. What did you say?
Dime Store Profits.
Dime Store Profits. Yep. That's yeah. And I think one of their. I think it was the singer. I think he worked at Sporties when we would play there.
Yeah, yeah,
They're good. They're really good at what they do. I don't know if
yeah.
they're still around. I think they still are.
Yeah, they are. My boss just went out and saw them at a winery, I think, or casino. Yeah, casino up in Chelan or Manson.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw some footage of them playing at the Bite of not the Bite of Seattle. It's really pig out in the park. Is that the one in Spokane?
Yeah, the one in
Yes.
Spokane.
Yeah.
Now the bass player for Dime Store Profits, he's the one that used to be the bass player in Lunker, and he left Lunker to go to Dime Store Profits, and so Lunker didn't have a bass player, so they were like, Brian was like, "Hey, you want to play bass?" I was like, "Sure."
And you had played bass before that?
I've always kind of dinked around with every kind of stringed instrument that there is. When I was in high school, I actually had a bass guitar. I didn't play it very much, but I had one.
What's your guitar collection look like now? Are you a collector or do you? I find most musicians don't get rid of music. don't get rid of instruments unless they're like the early on ones.
Yeah, no, I still have my SG. It's
Oh,
in real desperate need of a fret job.
it's maroon black, right? Still, is that what, was it maroon
Maroon.
black?
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
pick guard or
yeah.
no pick guard?
It's got a pick guard, black one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I remember. Because you were Angus, all the
Yes,
way.
sir. Yeah.
So what else
So
do you have? How many?
I have that one. I have a cheaper Paul Reed Smith. So I've got a Paul Reed Smith single cutaway. I've got a Charvel, cheap Charvel. I've got a cheap Fender, and I've got my Kramer. I thought this was kind of cool. I had to have an '80s metal guitar.
Right.
So
It looked like my brother's. He had a pink one. I don't know. I don't
yes,
think it was a Kramer, but
a Kramer SM1. So which is cool because look at this. That heel is sexy.
that's nice. Yeah. Does it play good?
Yeah, it plays really well. I
Yeah.
like this one. This is one of my favorites. Plus, this is something that's new to me. I've never had a whammy bar
Whammy.
before. And
My
I bought a
f-
Jackson. I bought a cheap Jackson with a cheap Floyd Rose on it.
uh,
And it sucked because every time you used the Floyd Rose, it would go out of tune. But this
yeah.
one is rock solid.
Yeah, cheap Floyd Roses are a pain in the butt if you want to use a whammy bar at all because they don't work.
Yeah.
My first guitar had a whammy pedal or whammy bar, and I don't know what I think I was testing. I broke it off under the nut,
Yeah.
and I went to American Music and I asked them. I said, "Do you have any whammy bars?" You know, and they wanted. For some reason, they said they were like $30. I don't know if they just didn't want to sell me one or if that's actually how expensive they were, but I didn't think it was worth it because I didn't play lead or anything. I just thought it was fun to mess around with once in a while. But I think
Yeah.
that's the only guitar that I think, except the one that's been my 5-year build that's still not done. I think that has a whammy bar. But my kit guitar that I
You
purchased
still
during
working on that?
COVID purchase for sure. I mean, I'm close. I got to redo the whole finish. I stained it. It's natural wood with stain, like a dark stain on it. But then I tried researching what finishes to put on it, and I bought like 6 cans of guitar finish, and they got lost somewhere, and they were expensive. So I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out something else that I could do because I'm not gonna put a whole bunch of money into it and much more money into it. So last summer I put on an epoxy finish on it, but I don't know how to do epoxy and I didn't tape it off, so I tried to be careful. And so it has runs in it. It looks real shiny and nice if you look at it at the right angle, but I think I got to sand all of it off. And I think I'll just do a spray on epoxy. I'll tape it off and do a spray on and call it a day on that one, put it back together, see how it actually plays. Cause I don't know. I put it together. Chad put it together, without any finish on it, just to like do a dry fit basically for it. It looks good, but yeah, it's a 5-year project. That was one of my goals this summer is to get it up and going, but I'm sure I'll make it happen. You can't wait too long because it can't be too cold when you try to finish it because it's out in the garage.
Yeah.
So it has to be a certain temperature. So then if it's 100 degrees out, I don't want to be working out in the garage at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's a sweet spot right in fall or spring where I feel like doing it. So hopefully the inspiration hits this fall.
There you go.
Yeah, I think. Do you do any recording at all, or is it just you just kind of play?
We just kind of play. I mean, I've got a Zoom
PodTrack 4.
Yeah, but it's a live recorder is what it is, and I've taken that out. So I mean, we have some. Yeah, but
this is my Zoom product that I bought during COVID
nice.
As well. So I wanted to replace that. Well, I did a lot of recordings of my own stuff. Move over to Cooley. Not many people want to do heavy music, so I just kind of was on my own. And I had a audio interface that was so out of date when I bought a new version of Cubase so I can record myself, do the podcasts and do recording. And I got so frustrated. I knew how to use it. Well, I'm not going to say I knew how to use it. I knew how to use the recording program Cubase like a 4-track. That's all I knew how to do. But there's so many more things you can do in there. I didn't even use a click track. I just open air recorded it basically. So I bought all this new stuff and I couldn't figure it out. So that's another goal of mine. There's free programs out there where they teach you all the ins and outs of how how to record and actually make it sound good. So I'm going to do that with this new equipment. So like I said, I bought a bunch of new stuff, a new computer, that guitar, new mic, all this stuff, that new, I don't know if you know Tune Track. It's a drum simulator. They sound so good. They sound real, and you can program. It's a program in the computer where you can either sample any type of music that you want and input it, or you can make your own beats. So that was my goal. I never learned how to use any of it, but that's going to be another goal of mine when I start doing that. That's what I did in 30s Burning. We didn't ever have a drummer. We just had a drum track or a drum machine, and I programmed the drums. So we played one. We made a full album. We made an 8-song album, but we only played like one show, and it was at the trailer I was living in Snoqualmie for Chad's friends. So then I moved away, and our guitar player moved away, and all that. I was going through the divorce, and Chad was going through massage school, so it's kind of a hard time to get things like serious, but I don't know. Is it just that band that you're not interested in playing out with, or would you be interested if something else came along and you wanted to play a little more?
I don't know. It's hard for me to commit to things anymore. I just kind of run down a little bit. I don't have the energy that I did.
Yeah.
So I don't like to commit to things because, I mean, and I could do a one-off thing. I might be interested in something like that. As far as committing to anything else, I don't see it. I don't think it would happen.
That's kind of how I am. I kind of want to just write and record at this point.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, my health took a turn at the end of not 30s Burning, Hometown Hooligans, or we just started calling ourselves the Hooligans at the end. But like, I gained a lot of weight, and like, I'd have so much anxiety going up to a show because not for the show itself, but I couldn't physically like load up my drums, or it wasn't even my drums. It was our singer and bass player. They were married. It was their drum set. So I felt like I was a burden, you know. They never said it. They never complained, but like, I had so much anxiety. Well, not only that, the loading and loading out, but like having the self-image that I didn't want to be in public playing in front of people. Because I know I wasn't imagining it. You walk into a room and heads turn when you're as big as I got. So the anxiety got the best of me, and I just, I had to call it quits with them. They just recently called it quits as a band. The singer Cliff, he ended up having like open heart surgery in November. He was having chest pains, and so he went to go get it checked out, and he says, you need to have surgery on Monday. So it's like an emergency like surgery. So as he's recovering from that, his wife has a heart attack, and it's like, holy cow. They're not like nonstop. They're always doing stuff. They're part of the Soap Lake, the Maskers. They're board members. Cliff was a board member of that, and they're always doing plays. They were doing our band. They both have jobs. He's the pastor at the church. So I mean, I think everything just eventually caught up to them. They're going to be part of the podcast too here shortly. I did one with Cliff on my first go around a couple years ago, and I actually did two with him on accident. The first one, I went to his church and we were recording. About an hour into it, everything just shuts off. I looked down, and like my computer where it plugs into the surge protector wasn't plugged in all the way. So the power of the laptop would have lost all the footage, lost all the recording. So we redid it, and it's kind of interesting. We redid it, and it was completely different. I asked him the same questions basically, but it's a completely different conversation, which was interesting to me. So we're going to do it again, try number 3, because I lost most of the old ones that I had. Plus I want to do it on video this time instead of just audio. So, but like sometimes I get the urge to play again, get a band going, but like, what would I do? I don't know if I would drum again. I don't know if I would try to play guitar. I'm not confident enough in myself as a guitar player. I would sing for a band, but I'm not physically in a position where I could like actually do a show and stand and sing for a long time. I can't do that yet. So for me at this point, it would be more just recording, maybe get together with people, write songs and just record it if they didn't want to do anything more than that. I think that's where I would be. But even that's kind of hard in this area. I would have to go to like, Moses Lake or something like that to hook up with more. Because I didn't even know, like you were naming the other band, the metal band. I didn't even know Moses Lake had a scene, any kind of metal, anything. So I'd like to check them out. maybe you can send me a link if you have it
Yeah,
of any of their
I'll
stuff.
see if I can find something and send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to thank you for being the guinea pig of
Yeah.
this reboot of this podcast. Hope it wasn't too uncomfortable or painful for you.
No, no, this was fun. This was fun.
Yeah. So I will
So
get this.
one thing I got to throw in there though.
Okay, go ahead.
First, speaking of Nirvana, first time I ever heard Nirvana was, and this is funny because I'm from the Seattle area, but the first time I ever heard them was at your house. You and your brother and Kylan had that house in
Yeah.
Spokane, and
That might have been when Chad moved out with Rob.
so you weren't there.
I may have been there visiting. We never lived in Spokane. Chad and Rob did. But that wouldn't line up unless you heard Nirvana like in 92 or 93. And that's when Chad lived there. It was like 92, 93, my senior year.
I swear it was 91. No, you're right. It had to have been 92. Yeah. Carrie and I drove over there and we stayed the night. And I remember Chad was watching MTV.
Yeah.
And Nirvana, It Smells Like Teen Spirit came on. That's the first time I ever heard it was at Chad's house.
So they had
a drum set downstairs.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That was their place. That was Rob's place. Rob and Chad and Rob's brother. He was the drummer.
Okay. Yeah, he was playing. They were showing me Inner Sandman. And he was playing it, playing along with it.
Yeah. First time I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit was at the guitar player of my high school band out at North Bend. They lived out of town. I can't remember, out towards Mount Si, a nice place out there. And his brother had it, and he played it for me. And I didn't really like it at the time, but I do remember it because it got so famous. But I was never a Nirvana fan. I was an Alice in Chains guy.
Yeah,
Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam were my Seattle bands. I didn't like Soundgarden or Nirvana much. That's interesting. I didn't realize. I was there though. You think though, huh?
I thought you were there. You may not have been. I don't know.
I was there a few times. I don't remember you being there. I mean. Heck, that was 30 something years ago. You could have been.
Yeah.
I think I might not have been. I don't know if I was. I think I kind of remember every time I hung out with you after the initial meeting, which I thought was only at the place in Soap Lake or Lakeview Park. I'll ask Chad. Maybe he.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you going to have a link or something where people can watch these, or are you just keeping?
Yeah, I'm gonna, after I get done editing it, then I'll post it to YouTube. Then I'll put that YouTube on my Facebook.
Okay.
I got a Facebook podcast page that I just started up called Carl Knows People Podcast. I'll link it to that. I'll link it to my main page, and I'll tag you in it when I get done. It should be. I got one tomorrow that I'm doing. Then I don't have anything lined up after that. So I'd say next week. This program actually is pretty cool. It does an AI edit, so you don't even have to go through and like really listen to it. Any dead space, it'll cut it out. It'll cut out any repetitive words and just like it'll fix the sound. It'll fix background noise and everything. So I did a short one, a couple minute one when I was just testing it out. So I'll put it to the test. This one was probably almost an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. You'll definitely get a link. It's not going to be just for my thing. I'll make it public so you can watch it.
Well, I'm just interested in seeing what the other people that you talk to have to say. It'll be interesting to listen to.
Cool. All right, Pete, I thank you for agreeing to do this. Nice catching up with you again for the first time in probably 30-something years.
Yeah, it's good seeing you, Carl.
Yeah, you too. Well, maybe we'll try to hook up in person and maybe go see Chad play or something.
Sounds good.
That'd be good. All right, Pete, thanks a lot.
Take care.
All right, bye.